Alright, in today's tutorial we are going to go over the mesh tool, and this is supposed to just be a first introduction to the mesh tool. One thing the mesh tool does really well is you can create objects and make them look like they're three-dimensional. So you can see right here that I made two circles, these are identical, and then just by using 4 different colors, you can use more if you like, um, and using the mesh tool, it creates this grid on the object and a little drop shadow. I've created a three-dimensional object, or what appears to be a three-dimensional object. These circles are exactly the same. So what we're going to do today is we're going to learn how to blend some colors together to get a color scheme going, and then also how to add a drop shadow like this. Okay, so go ahead and follow along with me. The color scheme is going to be up to you. Go to File, New, and let's just do Mesh Tool, Circle to Sphere. Okay, so we're going to turn a circle into a sphere, and 3 inches by 3 inches is fine. And you can hit OK. And let me get this into the view. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is let's go ahead and create a color scheme, and we're going to use the blend mode to get our colors up here. So we're going to click on the rectangle tool, and I want you to make one rectangle up here, and I want you to copy and paste, or Command C and then Command F, and paste it right on top, and then you can use your move tool to move it over like so. Okay, now what we're doing is we're going to use a range, blend 2 different colors, a highlight and a low light, and blend the 2 colors in between so that we have a color scheme to work with when we're creating our sphere. Now the color is going to be up to you. What I want you to do first is you can turn off the stroke on them as well. Click on both of them, turn off the stroke. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on one, double click on the color, and you can either do it this way or you can click right up here and choose a color scheme. If you wanted to do brown, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use green again. So I'm going to click right here. Actually, I'll do the light green. Do the light green right here, and then I'm going to click right here and choose the dark green. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on both of them, right? Highlight and click, and now we want to blend these together. So you can go to Object, Blend, and let's go to Blend Options first. And what this specifies is we can either do smooth color, steps, or distance. We want to choose steps, and this is how many squares is it going to add to this. We want 2 more squares. So we're going to add specified steps to 2, click OK, and then what you're going to do is go to Object, go to Blend, and go to Make, and then it'll give you a range from the light to dark. Okay? Now we can just use the eyedropper tool and color that in using this range and color. So from here, let's go ahead and let's go to your layer palette, and let's click a new layer, and right down here, and just go circle. Label this circle, and what I want you to do is just click right here and hold down Shift on your ellipse tool, and I want you to make a perfect circle. And you can let go. Now you can see I have created a perfect circle. What I want you to do is Command C, Command F, copy and paste that exact thing, and I want you to move it over just like so. Okay? And now we have it labeled circle, and we have 2 circles. We can label this one. We can label this one sphere, and we can label this one circle. Okay. If you want to, you can just create a brand new layer and put the sphere on that layer, like so. So now we have we have sphere. It's kind of up to you, but just make sure you have them labeled. You have the sphere, and then you have the regular circle so that we can tell the difference. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lock it down. On your layer palette, lock and lock so that you don't make any changes to the color palette. You can probably label that color palette as well. Color scheme or color scheme. Now these are locked, and now what we're going to be doing is we're working on this layer right here. Okay. First thing I want you to do is let's go ahead and go to your eyedropper tool, and we're going to color this in. Actually, select it first, and then go to your eyedropper tool and just select this color. We want to turn it into this color right here. And from here, let's go ahead and experiment with the mesh tool. So the mesh tool is right here. The shortcut command is U. I'm going to click on the circle, and you can see that it'll create these kind of like a grid-like horizontal and vertical line. If you want to just create vertical lines, you can click on top and it'll create vertical lines. If you want to do horizontal lines, click on the edges, on the horizontal edges or vertical edges to create horizontal lines. Now if you hold down Alt, you can delete these lines as well. So if you make a line, don't worry about it. You can always delete it. So what I want you to do is go ahead and make a few lines. Let's do something like that and that and maybe like that. Okay, so go ahead and get something that looks like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it three-dimensional. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add like a highlight where the light is hitting it. So I'm going to use my direct selection tool. All right, the direct selection tool, and I want to select the points that I want to be affected with the highlight. So if I click right here, it highlights that point. You see that these are all white and this one's green. And then I'm going to go to my eyedropper tool and just click right here on the highlight. You can see that that's highlighted now. Now let me zoom in so you can kind of see that a little bit nicer. Now I've just created that as my highlight right here. If I click right here and move the direct selection tool, look at if I move the handle, it moves the line and thus affects the shape of that highlighted area. So you can kind of manipulate it as you see fit, moving these lines, moving these anchor points as you see fit. Okay. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and hold down Shift because I want to use this color right here. I'm going to hold down Shift and select just the outlining areas of that are next to this highlight. After I highlight this one and this one and this point, I'm going to go back to my eyedropper tool, click that to make it a little bit lighter. And from here, I'm going to go back to my direct selection tool, and let's say I want to make these kind of like a darker green, like this color green. So I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to select just the edges right here, edge, and maybe even this edge, and maybe some of these points too. And now that they're selected, I can click on my eyedropper and make those darker. Oh, you can see that I had these selected accidentally. So let me click out of these, and I need to reselect these and color them in this light color. So I'm going to go back to my direct selection tool and hold down Shift and select. Right, now these are selected, and eyedropper, go back something like that. Now from here, what I can do is it's a little messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here, and I can bring. It looks like this might have been selected too. So I'm going to click on my direct selection tool and select these. Just make sure that they're the right color. Nope, that actually changed everything. That's not going to work. So you can see that you just click direct selection tool and hold down shift and eyedropper. Yeah, I guess that is there. And let me click maybe this one, eyedropper, make that a little bit darker. Actually, that was the same color, that didn't do anything. So now I have this, and I can start to manipulate these anchor points and these handles by clicking on my direct select tool, and I can kind of either drag the whole point out to even it out. I can drag these down like so, and just to make it a smoother transition. I can even move this up a little bit if I wanted to. You can see the difference between that and kind of blending it out a little bit. Right here you can see it's a little splotchy. So what I would probably do is I'd probably click down here and move some of this back just a little bit. Move these back a little bit. You can move the handles as well. Something like that. And now that kind of evens it out just a little bit. A lot of it's just kind of trial and error, and you gotta, play around with it until you get something that really works for you. So now we have like a dark shadow, a highlight, kind of a medium tone, which is this color, and then the overall grain of it. And it takes time, so you gotta be patient, continue to work with it. And then now to add the drop shadow, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer, and we're going to rename that drop shadow, and I'm going to place it underneath the sphere. Okay, you want it underneath the sphere. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your cylinder or your ellipse tool and make a little ellipse, like so. And I'll turn off the eye of the sphere. After you make the ellipse, you're going to go to your gradient tool, Window, Gradient, or you can just click right here. And I want you to choose the black and white gradient, like so. And from here, when you go to your gradient palette, I want you to choose the radial. And now you're like, that still doesn't look good. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip these colors. I'm going to flip the black and white, like so. And I'm going to change the white right here to completely transparent. And I'm going to move this slider up so it kind of looks something like that. Something like that. That's fine. And now what you're going to do is, actually, let me move this back. What I'm going to do is, I'm not too concerned about this black dot, but once I get that kind of see-through with just a black dot, I'm going to go to Stylize, Drop Shadow. I'm going to hit Preview, and I'm going to maybe change the opacity to about 99%. And the offset, you can see how the difference along the x-axis. We want that drop shadow to be to the left-hand side, so we're going to make sure that it's on the left side a little bit, like so. And then you can hit OK. And then let's go ahead and turn on that eye. And you're like, wow, that's really far off. That's A-OK, because you can just click on your move tool. And remember, it's behind it. So what we're going to do is just kind of hide it underneath, like so. Right? So you don't even really see the circle, but what you do see is the drop shadow. Okay? And that's kind of what we were going for. And then when you zoom out, you can see that you've created, turned a sphere into, or a circle into a sphere. Now, if you wanted to be more precise, I'd probably increase your color scheme to about 6 or 7 colors with a brighter highlight and a darker low light. But yeah, so great job. Look at your layer palette, sphere, drop shadow, everything's nice and organized. And great job.